Hi, I'm Michael Acevedo. I'm a 38-year plus medical device executive, from the sales representative all the way and getting into the boardroom and leading commercial teams to revenue generation and commercial attainment. What I do now is I take broken or underperforming sales organizations or commercial teams. I put the plans in place to have them attain a 2 to 5x revenue generation and commercial growth, and I do that within 90 days. When I was first working with Sue, I was in a position where I had just finished a career in corporate America as a sales and marketing executive in medical device. I was working with some venture capital companies, actually two venture capital companies, to establish new stage medical devices and take them to market. I wanted to expand my knowledge and expand my ability to enter into the fractional space and become a consultant in a more robust and a more broad way to be able to market my expertise and be able to assist companies taking their revenue from either stagnant or underperforming to getting them to grow to 2 to 5x and put in a plan to do that in 90 days. Sue and Fractional in the Box and all of her expertise and her process are what enabled me to go ahead and do that. I did take a look at many other companies that had some offerings that I would say that were somewhat similar, but not as robust. I took a chance on Fractional in the Box, and it enabled me to go ahead and get my messaging straight. It was able to get me to understand how I could market myself and be able to have an outreach of companies and individuals to show them or provide them services on how I could potentially get their business to grow incrementally to meet their commercial and revenue attainment objectives. The one win that I would say that I'm most proud of in joining the program was utilizing Sue and her process to understand what my value is in the marketplace. I really did not know what my value was and how I could position my value. And by Sue teaching me how to really understand what my value is and how to articulate that to the marketplace, to be able to have a very robust conversation on what my value is and what the companies and individuals would be willing to pay for an outcome-based strategy of attaining commercial and revenue attainment goals. I would say Sue's greatest strengths as a coach is really unlike any other very successful leader and or manager. I think she's a fantastic listener. She does a really, really good job of listening and understanding what the issues are that, in my case, the issues are in becoming a very robust fractional commercial executive. Go ahead and take the time to listen to what your experiences are, in this case, what my experiences were, and where it is that I wanted to go, and then matching those conversations and those traits into the Fractional in the Box. I would say that is her biggest attribute that she was able to share with me for me to allow me to attain my goal. I would absolutely recommend the program, particularly in a scenario like mine where you've been around for a long time. You've done some really great things. Quite frankly, a very good, successful track record. In my scenario, I did that with managing teams and did a really good job of it, putting strategic direction in place to attain goals and meet company-wide corporate objectives, and did that very well. Where Sue and Fractional in the Box really helped me to take that and be able to understand how now I can do that for myself. In my scenario, many people were doing that for me. I had marketing teams, I had sales teams. I was leading strategic development and strategic implementation. And of course, I was out getting my hands dirty, if you will, and working with customers, but people were doing that for me. In this case, Sue and Fractional in the Box was able to go ahead and teach me how it is that I could, be the individual to market myself and be able to talk to other companies and CEOs and other business leaders to be able to provide them my expertise so they could attain their commercial goals. What I would say to someone who was on the fence about joining is I would ask them to take the time to do their diligence and research to see what other programs are out there. And I think they'll follow the same path as I did, in that there are a lot of companies and a lot of individuals that offer similar services. However, what really turned me and triggered me into making a decision with Sue is really understanding the process. I had a conversation with the individual, and I can't remember his name, that talked to me generally about the program and really assessed me to see if I was going to be a viable candidate for the program. Then had the opportunity to talk with Sue, It was really an interview of me to her on her process, but I think she was also interviewing me. And to be able to see if there was going to be a match between both of us to determine on if we can go ahead and meet our individual goals. And I would tell anybody who's on the fence is really to take the time to do that diligence, to talk with Sue. And I would also encourage them to talk to other individuals that have gone through the program and had the same reservations about making the decision to move forward with the program, and have them answer their questions. And my thinking is that if in fact that any individual on the fence does that, there'd be no question that they would be swayed or convinced or feel confident is probably the better verbiage to be able to make the decision to enter into the fractional in a box program.